Sometimes, destiny doesn't whisper. It roars through the clouds and tears your world apart. For Ethan, that roar was the sound of metal screaming against ancient trees, a symphony of destruction that ended in a deafening silence. He stumbled out of the wreckage, the world a dizzying blur of green and gray smoke. A thin line of blood traced the path down his forehead, a stark contrast to his pale, shocked face. He was alone. Utterly, terrifyingly alone. Hello? His voice was a fragile whisper, swallowed by the immense, indifferent jungle. Anyone? Please! Someone! Only the ceaseless hum of insects answered his plea. The world he knew was gone. No signal bars on his phone, no distant hum of traffic, no help on the horizon. There was only the jungle lantern, alive and watching. He salvaged what little he could, a small backpack holding the remnants of his former life, and took his first tentative step into the unknown. The forest doesn't just exist, it breathes. It observes. It doesn't welcome strangers, it tests them. With every step Ethan took, the canopy seemed to close in around him. Birds, once chirping, took flight, their silence a warning. The air, thick and humid, felt heavy with unspoken threats. Thirst, a primal and desperate need, led him to a deceptively calm stream. The water was cool, a fleeting moment of relief, but as he drank, the surface rippled with an unnatural energy. Something large, something powerful, moved beneath. He scrambled back just as the reptilian head of a caiman broke the surface, its eyes like cold, glowing embers. He could feel his heart hammering against his ribs. Okay, no more drinking here. Survival demanded he keep moving, keep climbing. He scaled a steep, rocky slope, the damp stones slick beneath his hands. His grip failed, and he slid, his hands scraping against the sharp edge. A deep gash opened, and crimson drops fell onto the verdant leaves below. A seemingly small mistake. But here, it was a declaration. In the wild, even a single drop of blood is an invitation to a feast. The jungle responded. A rustle in the dense undergrowth behind him. He froze, every nerve ending, screaming. A pair of eyes, luminous and predatory, gleamed from the shadows. He snatched a heavy, broken branch, his only defense against the unseen. The silence stretched, thick with tension, then shattered. A guttural roar ripped through the air as a jaguar, a fluid shadow of muscle and death, leaped from the darkness. Pure instinct took over. Ethan swung the branch wildly. It was a clumsy, desperate arc that missed its mark, but the sudden aggression was enough. The jaguar, startled, retreated with a low growl, melting back into the shadows. Shaking, leaning against the rock, Ethan whispered to the uncaring trees, I'm not dying here. Not like this. As daylight bled from the sky, the jungle transformed. Shapes warped, and every shadow held a new terror. Rain began to fall again. A cold, relentless downpour. Ethan found a sliver of refuge under the hollowed-out trunk of a fallen giant. With trembling hands, he managed to coax a flame to life using salvaged pieces from the plain. The fire, a small, defiant circle of light, became his anchor in the encroaching darkness. It was a primal comfort, the oldest friend of man, and the only thing standing between him and the night. He pulled out a worn photograph from his pocket, the smiling face of his daughter, Lily, illuminated by the flickering flames. His voice broke as he spoke to her image. Lily, I'll find a way home, I promise you. The fire crackled, a lonely sound in the vast wilderness. But it wasn't the only sound. From the distance, the haunting, sawing call of a leopard echoed through the trees, a chilling reminder of what lurked just beyond the light. Every sound in the jungle tells a story. Some are warnings, others are hunting calls. Morning arrived, not with a gentle dawn, but with a gray, washed-out light. Ethan decided his best hope was to follow a river, a lifeline he prayed would lead back to civilization. But this river held its own grim secrets. Near the shore, he saw them. Bones, bleached, white, and scattered like macabre decorations. Animal skulls, ribs, vertebrae. A boneyard. What happened here? He murmured, a cold dread seeping into him. The answer came not in a roar, but in a silent, fluid movement. From the tall reeds, a massive python emerged, its patterned skin a mesmerizing tapestry of beauty and death. It moved with an eerie grace, coiling silently, its unblinking eyes fixed on him. Ethan began to back away, his movements slow, deliberate. His foot caught on a submerged route, and he tumbled backward into the cold water. Panic flared. He grabbed a low-hanging branch, hauling himself out of the water just as the python lunged, its jaws snapping shut on empty air. Gasping for breath on the muddy bank, he could only whisper, "That was too close." He pushed deeper into the jungle, a desperate forward momentum, his only strategy. That's when he started noticing them. Carvings etched into the bark of ancient trees were symbols he didn't recognize, weathered by time, but undeniably deliberate. Someone or something had been here before. This trail wasn't entirely wild. Then he heard it, a faint, rhythmic beat carried on the wind. Drums. Was it possible? Were there people? A surge of adrenaline and hope propelled him forward. He ran, crashing through tangled vines and dense foliage, the camera shaking with his desperate pace. The drumming grew louder, closer. He burst through a final curtain of leaves into a clearing and stopped dead. There was no one, just a circle of musk-forward stones, and hanging from a lone tree, a single carved wooden mask. Its expression was one of silent screaming. "What is this place?" The wind picked up, swirling through the clearing, whispering secrets he couldn't comprehend. The mask began to turn slowly on its string, watching him. He was beginning to understand. The jungle hides more than predators. It hides its secrets. Night fell again, bringing with it a profound sense of unease. Learning from his fear, Ethan didn't risk sleeping on the ground. He found a massive tree and painstakingly climbed into its high branches, wedging himself into a fork for a precarious, but hopefully safe, night's rest. Distant thunder rumbled, a prelude to another storm. As he watched the jungle floor below, he saw movement. Not animals, figures. Human-like figures, carrying flickering torches. Their bodies were painted in ash and red clay, their movements silent and purposeful. Faintly, he could hear the sound of chanting, a low, guttural harmony that chilled him to the bone. "Not alone," he breathed, the words catching in his throat. "I'm not alone here." And in that moment, for the first time since the crash, he desperately wished he was. A sudden, brilliant flash of lightning illuminated the scene below, and for a terrifying second, he saw their faces, upturned, seemingly looking right at him. Then, as quickly as they appeared, they vanished into the darkness. His face, lit by the storm, was a mask of pure terror. In the heart of the jungle, survival is not about strength. It's about silence.